Hello, folks. I've been asked a couple of times to show or comment on some of the remoting ideas I've lashed together here on top of a K3, an Elecraft K3 with an ACOM 2000A amplifier at my remote station, which is about an hour from my home here in Houston. Very fortunate to have a little bit of land with three nice towers and about 18 antennas, and all kinds of fun can go on out there when I'm out there. But uh, my wife really likes it when I can stay home, so I've been working on this remote, and this implementation of a remote station is what I'll call a interim or middle of the pack type of scenario. I'm waiting on a couple of K4s, and that will help me roll out my ultimate station, which is a SO2R, single operator 2 radio contest station, which is really the only thing I'm interested in is CW contesting, and doing that remotely with a pair of K4s will be the next step in this adventure. But for right now, I've got a single K3 that I've borrowed, and I'm using a remote desktop. This happens to be a Chrome remote desktop, which I found better than other things as far as latency and several different things. Uh, what we're looking at here on the screen is what's condensed down. Up at the station, there are two screens of stuff going on. So I wanted to, when I have it here at my house, I personally will be looking at it on a 49-inch diagonal massive Dell screen. I forgot what they call this, but it's it's 49 inches wide. And it's essentially three screens in one. So right now I'm looking on the right side of my screen, which you can see in the window behind my head right now. That's what I'm looking at. But that picture actually goes on a little bit farther to the left here. But that's stuff that really isn't important to this discussion very much. But I just want you to know what you're looking at here is a piece of the puzzle, and so I'm going to comment about the different pieces that are relevant here. I'm going to go section by section so we can talk about it. I'm going to hide my ugly head since it's not. Now we've got a screen and I can talk. Let's just talk about first thing. We'll try to go in a circle here. I'm sorry. Let's start with my how I fire this thing up. Uh, the first thing here is a power outlet controller, and I fire that up to turn on different devices, and it goes to a screen like this. So I have all my uh, different devices that I can turn on. Turn the PC off, my remote control system, lights, monitors, all kinds of things can be done with that. And that is a separate. By the way, I've got all of this running over ngrok. Since I'm on the AT&T hotspot as my only access to internet out there in the country. Nice to be out in the country, but you're a long way from high-speed internet. But I'm lucky enough to have a antenna 60 feet up one of the towers and get a pretty darn good internet signal. 25 to 30 down and 15 to 20 up, which is plenty for what I'm trying to do. But anyway, this is the how I turn on AC power with a switch like that. Second thing I do is hook up Mumble. Mumble is a voice over IP screen. Well, here it is over here. I'll bring it into view. That I am K5WA and Ranch is the remote station. So we're both checked into a chat room. Mumble is used by a lot of gamers to let them talk to each other while they're collaborating on a game. And I found this to be the lowest latency of any voice over IP solution that I played with. Now, I should have said this up front. I'm not a technical wizard by any chance, and or by any means, and really barely know what I'm doing. I stumble into things until I get them to work, and that's my methodology here. So I'm sure there's something better, but this works great for me. I can enter CW contests. I particularly like the CW Ops CWT contests on Wednesday. They're an hour long, and I can go at 38 words a minute and blow and go in a little contest there and have some fun with it. So anyway, that was how I get sound in. The next thing here is my ACOM. That's this screen right here. I've got another one for the other amp. By the way, everything's going to be is duplicated. There's 2 rigs and 2 amps in the scheme of things, but right now I only have one K3 waiting on my second K4. But anyway, I'll blow this screen up. So this is the amplifier, and it gives you power output. This is using the remote rig microbit device that ties directly into an ACOM 2000 amplifier, and you can turn the power on and off, set it to operate, tune it, if you need to do any tuning, and monitor the status of it. So that's how I control my amplifier. Really like the amplifier. I want to keep it as long as possible until a solid state amp can beat it. But in my opinion, I'm not there yet. The next piece of the puzzle is, well, I'll stick with going down the side here, is I have a whole bunch of things going on here, so I need serial redirection. So I use and like the virtual serial port emulator, VSPE, and it sets up my pairs and for my SO2R box, which is how I switch from radio to radio, tied into the software, and that's what sets this up. So that has to be running, and then I fire up my SO2R box. Well, let's see, it says there's an instance already running, so I'll just bring up the instance that's running. Here it is, and this sets up, it says it's communicating with the box, it's using these COM ports, and then I set the weighting on the WinKeyer that's built in, and I'm good to go on that. That has to be running as well. Then I get into my control system. Now I've built that's what this little green box fires up, another instance of this, but I will talk about the one that is currently running. Cancel that, close that. The one that's currently running is this one, and it is based on the Automation Direct PLC. My control system, that's too big. Let's do 100%. My control system is based on the Click series of PLC, and in mine I have about 120 I/O. So this controls the rotators. These are presets to move directions. Like if I wanted to move this amplifier to the northwest, I click that and it starts hopefully rotating if the rotator isn't hung. These are real old rotators, but and then I have, once it gets there, it'll stop rotating, and the northwest button stays lit, telling me that's the last one I have pushed. I have a kill button. Sometimes in heavy winds these old rotators get hung, and while I have a timer that shuts it down after 50 seconds of doing nothing, sometimes you want to kill it because you know it's in trouble. There's also a calibration button where I can change the calibration. Just like on a regular rotator, you can make a change to the rotator to recalibrate it if it's got blown out of whack somehow. And then down here are the choices. I have a 140-foot rotatable antenna. I have a 90-foot, this is on 20 meters. I have a fixed 90-foot antenna at northeast, and then I also have a fixed antenna southeast. And let's see, I think you can see this. I may have to swap sites, but let's say I wanted to switch from 20 meters to 40 meters. I go over to my rig control, hit 40 meters, and come back here. That switches now to 40, and what these switches are antennas that I have available on 40 meters. So that's what the control system does. These are beverages over here if I want beverages. I see I left a second kill button in there. Oh yeah, that kill button is for the second rotor. On 40, I'm lucky enough to have two rotatable antennas, one at 160 feet that is a 4-element, and then one, 2-element at 130 feet. And since I really only have screens for one rotator control, I can use these brown buttons to rotate the 40 meter antenna if I need to, and then that kills that. Again, the kill logic. Also, I have beverages. If I need to use beverages, I just choose a beverage and go like that to choose beverages. Now, over here it says no B. Well, that's because right now I only have a single radio. There's a single K3 up there, but if I had two radios up there, the second radio's band would be shown here, and a similar screen like this would indicate what's available on radio B. So that's an integral part of what an SO2R setup is. So I'll go back to the way it was. Oops, not 50%, but 75 seems to fit well, and then I can get rid of, I don't want to get rid of all of it. Let's see here. I'll have to edit this out in when I get to it. Okay, so put that back in its place. Now, as I fire up the radio, the next thing I do is fire up the software piece, which is, let's make sure I've got everything on the screen. Yes. The software piece that runs the radio for the moment is called Win4 K3 Suite by a VA2. I forget his call, but I'm using this just temporarily because it's at least gives me control of the rig. It's the interface is not really meant for moving fast, but at least it'll get you on the air. Tuning with this stuff is a nightmare, but I use my N1MM software to tune the radio. I can use my up and down arrows, and you can see the VFO moving as need be. Or I can type in, if I wanted to go to 7035, I just type in 035, enter, and boom, the radio goes to 035. Okay, so that's the radio. You may love it, you may hate it, but it works, and it's going to do the job for me until I get something better. Now the next thing I fire up as I fire up my station is an SDR receiver that's sitting on the IF of the K3, and that's what this is down here. It's a very rudimentary pan adapter. It's no P3 by any means, but my interest of being an old guy, pan adapters, I know they've been around forever, but they're coming into use as everybody's using them now. I'm not quite there yet. I will be there with a much better one that's built into the K4, but for now this lets me know, is the band busy or not? I'll switch it back to 20 meters because there's more signals there, and we'll turn him down. But anyway, all that is the red line here is my center frequency. That way I can see above and below me. If I had this number right here set to 0, which makes sense, then I can only see things that are above me. Well, I like to see both below me and above me. This big heavy bar is the FT8 boys. See, I'm at 036 and about, what is that, 40 KCs above me is the ever-present FT8 crowd. It's amazing. But anyway, so that's that. And then the last little icon here is webcams. So I can sign into my webcams from my house here and see what's going on out at the station. Let's see, this first thing. Okay, there's the antennas or the towers. I've got two 40-meter beams waiting to go up on. This is the 160-foot 40-meter tower, and at the moment it's only got a 4-element up there. The 2-element at 130 feet is over here on this tower, and it's got a 5-element 20 above it at 140 feet. And then this is the 10 and 15-meter tower out here. It's 110 feet tall. Top antenna is 120. And I can check different things around the station. This is going out to on the opposite side of the house from what I was just looking at, and see who's coming and going. This is the road up to the landowner's house. Can see if he's there, and then I can look at other stuff. It's a little bit slow since I'm doing this over the, I think it's going to get there. There we go. And then I can see what's going on in the shack as a third look. And these cameras are PTZ, so I can zoom around. And there's a lovely, messy desk if I ever saw one. But it works, I'm a guy, I'm not a perfectionist on how it looks or if it's done exactly perfectly. As long as it works and does the job, that's my criteria. Especially since this is just an interim project to tide me over to when the K4s show up. Okay, so my contesting software is N1MM, and I had it set up here for, I think I was doing, what was I doing here? Well, CW Ops, but I think this was the SST, the slow speed thing. But anyway, so I use N1MM, and it does everything I could ever think of. For you guys that are into FT8, to get to FT8, all you got to do is type in FT8, and voila, it goes to FT8. I may have to slide something over on the presentation screen to see it, and it takes 15-20 seconds to fire up, but it eventually gets there. It gives me this error message because it doesn't like the fact that I'm trying to load FT8 contacts into the CWT contest. Oh, let me bring this over. There we go. You didn't see that, so I won't bother to explain it. But then the FT8 screen, and of course it's in the wrong frequency, so we got to pick that 17040 or 074, and boom, now we got signals starting to come in as soon as it goes through a decode cycle. Anyway, several guys have asked, well, hey, can you do FT8 remotely? Well, yes you can. It works out quite nicely, so I have a lot of fun with that. Okay, there they are. Now it's starting to decode, and I could do that if I wanted to, but this is a presentation on more of the remote capabilities of it. And if anybody has any questions after this is over, drop me an email. Be glad to answer what I can. As I say, I am not the guru on this, but this system works for me, and I'm having lots of fun with it. So anybody that wants to try it may get an idea or two from these, and I'd be glad to answer any questions if you head down this path and say you wanted to know, okay, well, what's that? Tell me more about that, or just how'd you do your ACOM? Now, as far as laying out the future, there won't be a remote desktop component because that is a bandwidth hog and it slows things down a little bit. I'll be running my the K4/0 remote heads, just like Flex Radio has their Maestros. Well, Elecraft will eventually have their K40 remote heads, which I'll have here at my station in Houston, and will be tied directly to the K4s with their own TCP connection. And a year ago I didn't even know what that was, and now I barely do. But it's coming along. I'm also considering shifting away from ngrok to have specific tunnels to a VPN or something else. I'm working on that right now. So this is something that changes daily, but this is where I am today. And let's see, I can. Oh, you don't want to hear that. So we'll go back down to say 035 and put it on CW and just. Okay, it sounds like there's somebody a little bit below it or above us. We'll tune a little bit just for a second to show you that it works. went right past it because I held the down button down too long. I have to tap it. So I can't wait to have the hardware solution eventually that's going to make this work much better. Let's see. I would make a contact, but you guys probably aren't interested in that. Oh, let me just at least send something on an open frequency. Okay, here's a relatively open frequency. Okay, and I have it set for only 35 watts. If I wanted to, I could just kick the amplifier in. So now it's in the operate position over here on the right, and I'll send my call. And you saw that, about 1200 watts. And that was going to all 3 antennas. We'll just head it southeast so the Brazilians and Argentines can listen to me. But anyway, that's how it transmits. And of course it does work on sideband. I just don't get on sideband that often. But could flip up to sideband and we'd be rocking and rolling. Anyway, that's the show, and I hope that helps folks that have asked. And if not, it's a good way to put you to sleep before it's, if you can't go to sleep one night, listen to this and I'm sure you'll nod off quickly. Thanks for listening. This is K5WA. Will be clear. Bye.